The sheriff's office will not be making public statements about the case. It will all go through my office, and we're going to do it very limited for the reason that we want to make sure that this man gets a fair trial, that the victims' families get justice through a fair trial, and that the case gets tried here in the community in which it was committed.
How long do you think it took to plan this?
Again, a detail I wouldn't go into at this point.
Did you leave a note inside the car before he...
I'm going to go down here first.
Did you leave a note inside the car and what did the note say?
There was a note inside the car. We're not revealing that at this point. I plan to learn everything I can about this man before I make that decision. And I want to learn everything about the victims and the impact that this has, how widespread the impact is on the victims' families. And at that point, with all the information, we have a process that we follow. Most DA's offices do, where we will go through a long process. We give the defense attorneys a chance to come in and present mitigation to us. We try to find out everything we can. We want to know mental illness, is that there? We have so many things we need to learn. And for me to say what I'm going to pursue now would be precipitous.
What kind of contact have you had with the surviving victim and the other victims' families?
There have been, to my knowledge, this is dated by, yes, there have been contact with family members from 6 of the 8 victims. We are reaching out, and the coroner's office is working with us to reach out to all the victims' families. Yes, sir.
Well, tell us a little bit of the narrative of the day of the event. So it was confusing, if you could just tell us what you know.
Well, we know a great deal, and again, that's part of what I'm not going to go into, other than to say, as you know, that there were 2 different sites in which this occurred. The first one was over there on San Mateo Road. The second one was over at the Concord business. The first one was a mushroom farm, and that the initial victims were 4, I believe. I'm looking at you, Sean, at any point if I have it wrong, but 4 victims at the first site, 3 victims at the second site of our 7 murder victims. But in terms of then going beyond it, time intervals, how he got over to the sheriff's substation where he was arrested, that we're going to leave for the future.
What's the support are victims' families getting?
We have victim services from both my office, the San Mateo County District Attorney's Office, as well as the FBI. FBI was out there that first night with their victim services people providing also, and we are coordinating with them to be able to give them resources to provide for housing, to provide for counseling, to provide for funeral services. The state of California has a very good victim services support network. Governor Newsom made reference to it yesterday in his presentation out there about how the victim services, he's provided more and more money to trying to help make sure that victims' families don't have to just wander without support.
Other than the FBI, are there any other federal agencies involved in this?
There have been some others. The U.S. Attorney's Office has reached out to me to offer any support that we need. And there have been some others that have provided assistance. Not to go into at this point. The FBI is the only one we're mentioning at this point.
So you touched on this a little bit, but can you put this in context in terms of what you've seen in your career, just how horrific this is? Have you seen anything like this before?
The question is what I've seen over the course of my 46 years as a prosecutor. This is by a large amount, in San Mateo County, the single most victims of homicide in one course of conduct within a short time period. We have not had that before. I think the largest we had had before of one single action, not over a course of months, but over an action was 4 in San Bruno when there were 4 people executed there. So this one is in a category that is way beyond anything we've ever dealt with. I'm sorry that we have joined the list of counties around this country that have had to deal with this. Well, I always hoped that that would not be something that would occur in my career, but now that it's here, we'll step up and we'll see that justice gets done.
Steve, any other charges, special enhancements that you're considering down the road?
Nothing beyond what we did now. We think we have charged this case based on the facts as we know them now. Again, it's always fluid. If something else were to develop, more would be learned. But at this point, we think our charging document adequately and thoroughly covers the conduct that day.
Steve, is there any indication victims and whether they were targeted by the gunman?
That would be going into his mental state. And we do know the answer to what your question is. I'm just tantalizing you by saying that, I guess. But the answer is we do know, but I don't want to go into those details at this point. The question was whether or not the suspect, the defendant, I would now call him, whether the defendant had targeted these people. And that is something we do know the answer to. And again, that would be going into details I don't want to do at this time.
Steve, is there any indication this was any sort of copycat from the
Question was whether this is any evidence of copycat of Monterey Park, and we believe the answer is no to that. Not just simply we're not sure. We believe the answer is no. Yeah. Anytime on any crime, any felony crime, that somebody uses a handgun or a rifle, any firearm, uses a firearm, under California law, that enhances the penalty. It adds, in a case like this, for each count, it adds 25 years to life on top. Now, again, if the penalty is life without parole or death, that's fairly academic. But it exists. If a robbery occurred down the street here and somebody used a gun, they could get up to 5 years for the robbery and 25 to life for the gun if they had used the gun. So that's why we add those enhancements in. I'm sorry, could you say that? That's a detail we're looking into, and I don't want to go into that at this point.
How long has he been in the U.S.?
At least a decade. Question was, how long had he been in the United States? At least a decade. I don't know the exact number yet, but at least a decade.
Any brushes with the law prior that you think might be relevant?
We think that there had been some contact previously. We're running that down. At this point, the Sheriff's Office has that on their very long list of tasks to perform, and that is one of them. Basically, in a case like this, what you do is you try as best you're able to go back to the day the person was born and determine every single thing that happened in their life. School, education, grades, everything we can. Maybe a little bit more difficult here because of his background, but that's what we have asked the Sheriff's Office to do and told them they have time to do it.
Is there an incident in another county that you find might be relevant?
We've heard about it. I think you guys might have found it. I know the Sheriff's Office found it. And we certainly are, the Sheriff's Office is aware and looking to get all the precise detail on it.
What about the gun? Can you tell us what make, when he bought it?
Not going into when he bought it, where he bought it. I can tell you it's a handgun. I will say it's a Ruger, but and it's a semi-automatic firearm. What type of a gun, I was asked.
Is he here legally?
We've been talking to the State Department to get the clear answer to that. I don't want to suggest whether he is here legally or illegally till we find out what exactly his status is. He did have at one point proper papers to be here. Whether that was still in existence, to be determined. Right. Good. You're stumped. Great. Thank you all. Yeah, go ahead.
Where the shootings took place physically, is it in the trailer, out in the fields, or what facility?
I will mention to you that there were shootings in the trailer and outside the trailer. I'll tell you that much.
Can you see whether the farms, we've learned a lot about the conditions these workers were living in. Is your office going to look at what's happening there in terms of the living conditions?
I think our office will focus on the prosecution, but I have spoken with the county manager of this county, Michael Callaghy. I have spoken with Dave Pine, the president of our board of supervisors. They have been out there. They have seen some of the squalor that exists out there. And the answer, I believe, as the county manager told me this morning, which is now we know about it, and now we have to act on it. So I believe there will be steps taken to deal with that situation. My focus, in my office's focus, will be on holding this man accountable for what he did. Okay? Great. Thank you all very much. I appreciate it, and appreciate you being here. Take care.
Yes.
Are we waiting for somebody else to come out? I don't feel like.
Oh.
Are you still trying to plug in?
Yeah.
Are you expecting someone else to come out and talk?
I don't know. Yeah. Actually, it's done, right?
I
What?
don't know if it would be.
Okay.
This your stand?
No. No, it was here. Somebody put it up.